Simplified Chaos, episode 52.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to another episode of Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays.
Christmas. Happy holidays.
It is Christmas Eve. It is December 24th, and we are excited as hell because we are coming up on the new year.
Whoop whoop.
So what does that mean, Jilly?
Well, it's weird that you said that because it's not Christmas Eve now that we're recording it. But
yeah, but when this drops, it'll be Christmas. You're looking at me like, what is he talking about?
But it's not.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, you mean it's going to be dropped
Yes.
on that day?
Well,
okay.
This is when the folks will be listening to it. Hopefully,
I'm making
hopefully they're
connections.
listening to it as soon as it's on their phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're a week away from New Year's. Jilly, what are we diving into today?
Today's topic is all about resolutions, and I think we're going with resolutions are bullshit.
Yes. So bear with us. We're going to have some interesting things to talk about on this. But before we dive into that, as always, we're going to show a little gratitude. So Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for coworkers.
That's a good thing to be grateful for.
Yeah, I think a lot of times I just think of my kids. Since I am a teacher, I'm with my kids most of the day, and I see coworkers in the hallway and mingle with them, but it's not too much conversation as just because the day is around the kids.
Right. Yeah,
but
you're with them.
Yes, but
99% of the time.
because the holiday season's coming up, I think there's just more interactions, more like activities happening and celebrations, and I've just got an opportunity to just have more conversations with people I don't normally talk to, or maybe just briefly say hi and conversate very quickly. But now I've been taking the time to just talk to coworkers more and get to know about them and their life, and it's really cool just connecting with people.
Yeah,
I like it.
I agree with you on that one. We just recently had a holiday party, and I was able to connect with some coworkers that I don't get to talk to often. So I definitely am picking up what you're throwing down with that one.
What about you?
So I am grateful for Google Maps.
Google Maps is the best.
Yeah.
True that. Double true.
Yes. This morning there was a pretty bad accident on the way into work.
Oh. And
Luckily, before I get really going on the road, I always bring up my Google Maps because I have about a 26 mile commute, and a lot can happen in that 26 miles because it's on a major beltway, thoroughfare, whatever you want to call it, around the Baltimore area. And this morning there just happened to be a pretty big accident, and Google Maps basically took me around it and right in front of where it happened. Like
Wow.
when I got on to 695, I could see it right in my rear view. So yeah, was able to save a few minutes and get back in the saddle and on my way. So
Good job,
yes,
Google.
Google Maps. Thank you. I appreciate you.
What did we do before we had Google? It's like weird to think
We
about.
sat in traffic.
MapQuest printed out things,
Well,
and
even that, but I mean,
I know,
couldn't
it's just
prevent you
crazy.
from going to an accident.
it's true.
So yeah, gotta love technology.
It does wonderful things.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right. So Jilly, we are talking about how resolutions are bullshit.
Bullshit.
It's going to be an interesting topic.
Yes, and I think we'll both have different perspectives on it, but
Sure.
we'll still have some common ground. But I think what we both mean is that I think resolutions are awesome because I think it's important to set goals. But I think we both are on the same page with waiting till the end of the year to like start fresh.
Right.
Like for us, it's as soon as we feel like something's not working, we're like, well, let's make a new goal and change the direction now versus waiting till the end of the year. And it's just interesting how I think a lot of people look forward to the new year because they see it as like a fresh new start, but really we can start any day we want, and we don't have to wait till the end of the year and make all of these really large expectations and large resolutions that it's kind of unrealistic to do, because you're putting all of this pressure on yourself to make all of these changes at this one set time of year instead of making these small changes throughout the year. So I think that's why we're calling BS, because most of the time it's unrealistic the way that resolutions are made only at that one time of year, and they're unrealistic, and they usually aren't not as
fall apart by the end of January.
Can't say successful.
Successful.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. No, so I was thinking about this because this is the time of year where people, you start hearing people say, I'm going to do things differently next year, or God, I can't wait for this year to be over. I can't wait for a new decade to start. I can't believe we're at the end of another decade here. But, we're rolling into 2020, and, I just started reflecting, and I was like, you know what? I don't have any New Year's resolutions because we're working on ourselves right now. And we're making plans for next year, but it's not like life-changing plans. Like, we continually evaluate where we're at any given point and make adjustments. But, I feel like this is often the scenario that happens towards the end of the year. And usually I want to say it happens in the second or third week of December. And it's just like, okay, I want to lose weight. Or, okay, I'm going to do more to be better off financially next year. And we have these ideas of what we're going to do for next year, but then we don't actually sit down and write out our goals. We don't evaluate those goals to see if they're actually realistic and achievable. And more importantly, we don't make that action plan to actually get you from where you're at to those goals. So, it's you have to be able to visualize it and see where you're going. So I just really feel like New Year's resolutions are bullshit, because they're great ideas, but oftentimes they fall through the cracks because there is no planning, there is no goal, there is no steps to take to reach that goal.
Yeah, they kind of fizzle out. And I agree. I think we have a lot of great ideas and ways we want to better ourselves, but then we don't really have the plan, because that's the hard work. Honestly, it's like, what's the first step into making that happen? And it's hard work because it's not something that happens like overnight. It's usually we pick goals or resolutions that need time. Like, if you want to get healthy, if you're trying to find a new job, if you're trying to save money, all of those goals or expectations or resolutions, if whatever you want to call it, they just take time. And some people, I think the way society is now and the way technology is, it's like everything is instantly, like, we're instantly gratified.
Right.
Everything happens fast. You want this, you can have it fast. You want to eat something, you can order it and be delivered in your home in 10 minutes. So I think waiting and just working towards those goals and creating a plan that's going to be slow and it's going to take time, but you're going to see the payoff. But it's just not, it's usually something that people don't want to stick out because they're impatient, or they just want change to happen now, and they want to see the results now. And it just, a lot of the great changes in our life definitely don't happen that way.
No. And that's, I think it's very important that not only do you, there are some things that you can fix right now. There are some things that you can change and just small things. And then there's some bigger things that if you want to change in your life are going to take some time. But that's all about having short-term goals and long-term goals. One of the things that I really enjoyed about meeting with our financial advisor is that we had several conversations, and he really made us think about a lot of things. And he didn't ask for answers the very first night that he met with us. He just kind of sat there and saw where we are, where our heads are at, and if we were realistic in our expectations for meeting with him. But then we had another session, and we started talking about short-term goals. What are our long-term goals? I mean, we were talking, okay, next year, 5 years, 20 years, what does retirement look like? And I think we can do the same thing with just changing anything in our lives. It doesn't have to, I'm not talking just finances, but we can look at certain aspects of our lives and say, okay, am I at where I want to be this year? where do I want to be in 3 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And really, just instead of saying where I want to be, you actually have to sit down and do some planning. And that's what we did with him. Like, he sat and asked us, what we wanted to do. He came back a third time and said, are these still your goals? Because we had to have a chance to talk about them afterwards as well. So again, I think it's very important that you ask those critical questions of yourselves, and instead of, again, just saying, oh, my New Year's resolution is to do this, and then not have a course of action.
I agree. And those type of questions used to scare me in the past, because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know where I see myself in 5 years. Like,
And that's okay.
yeah. And I think
That's
just
absolutely
being
okay.
okay with the unknown. And I kind of had this change in perspective. I feel like in the past, I would always view resolutions as, what do I want to add to my life to make it better? But really, I kind of looked at it a different way and said, what do I need to subtract from it in order to make room for what I want? And I actually looked up the definition of resolution, because I was kind of unclear. I'm like, well, what actually is a resolution? And the definition is a firm decision to do or not to do something.
It's funny. The key word there for me is firm. And most resolutions that we say to ourselves or that we hear are very temporary.
Because we don't make a plan and actually
We don't follow through.
So, and I actually wrote down some of the things that I wanted to subtract. And I feel like I'm constantly doing this. It's not something that I'm like, I'm going to start this next year. I've already put this in motion.
Right.
But
why do you have to wait until the clock strikes midnight on 2020 to start putting something into action? If you actually have something that you want to do, start doing it.
And I think, since we started this podcast and even before then, we've kind of been doing this. We've been slowly letting go of things, people, activities, experiences that we said were not going to be a hell yes for us and that weren't going to add to what we want in life. And I'm really not looking at resolutions anymore as, what do I want to add to life? It's more like, what do I need to subtract from my life that's currently not helping me make room for what is important?
And I think it's a little bit of both. You need to achieve some kind of a balance. There may be some things that you need to add in your life. But yeah, again, it's a full evaluation of what you need to bring in, what you need to let go, what adjustments you may need to make. You might need a little bit more of something or a little bit less. So yeah, and one of the things that we've talked about, especially I would say within the last 10 to 15 episodes that kind of comes up every now and then is, we treat our life and our family like a business. And we have those monthly meetings and talk about, where we're at. Are we meeting our goals? Are we short on our goals? A lot of companies do plan, and especially this time of the year, they're planning for 2020 and maybe rushing to set those goals. But, the truly successful companies are the ones who are, constantly evaluating, okay, are we, meeting our objectives? Are we not meeting our objectives? And if we're not, what adjustments can we make to do that? And, we're constantly doing that throughout the year. We're not just waiting until December to say, oh shit, we didn't do this year. We didn't do that. We could have done things a little bit better. We constantly have that conversation. I think that's part of the nice thing about this podcast is it's forcing us to talk about a lot of things, but we've always been open with each other. And if there's something that, I know in the past, I've been very reluctant to take time off of work and you want to travel more. And we've had those conversations and now I feel less pressure to do that. Like it's like, yeah, I'm going to make this work. I've got this amount of leave. We're going to go do a vacation. So we've made a lot of adjustments and it just hasn't been at the end of the year or the beginning of a new year.
I think instead of thinking as resolutions as a New Year thing, I think it's safe to say maybe thinking as resolutions as a daily mindset. Like, how can I make tomorrow a little bit better?
Yeah.
Or what can I take away from my life that's going to make room for what I want in life? Or what can I add to my life that's going to help me up level my happiness in life? So maybe instead of always waiting and thinking that, oh, New Year's resolutions, it's like, well, what's my resolution for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, what do I want to add or what do I want to subtract from my life to make it a little bit better so that I'm a little bit happier and a little bit healthier? So maybe just kind of changing that dialogue instead of waiting till the very end, and then using it frequently, like throughout the year, daily, monthly, like whatever you have to do to kind of change your brain into thinking that I don't have to wait that long. And honestly, good change isn't going to happen when you wait that long. It's going to happen when you're consistently like reflecting and questioning, how's everything going with me and my life? Am I liking it? Am I not liking it? Is it making me happy as hell? And if not, like, what can I change tomorrow to do a little bit better?
Right. And it could be something very small. And I actually encourage you to start with something small. And then that way you can work yourself up to the bigger things you change. But it's a lot easier to change small things. Do it a day at a time, evaluate, just, reflect on your day and say, hey, did I do things differently today than I would have done yesterday? And is it something positive, something that I can be happy and proud about? And, what can I do tomorrow to take that to the next level?
And I think it's really important, and I know I need this, and I'm sure there's other people out there, that whatever you're trying to let go of or whatever you're trying to add to like make your life a little bit happier, I think it's important to put reminders in your face every day of it, whether you're writing it down or it's a poster in your room or you're writing it on the mirror. Or for me, I find that I use, because I enjoy Instagram a lot, I surround, like, my resolution every day is to be a little bit kinder, a little bit more patient. And it's all about my mindset. I'm not going to lie. I started writing down just things I want to get better in. And all of it had to do with my mindset. Every one of them. Yeah. And I'm constantly following people that are putting shit out there that totally thinks the way my brain processes things. Like it cuts through those limiting beliefs that I used to have, or the way I used to view people, and it helps me not make as many judgments. It helps me be more open to the way people are living and just seeing the world in a completely different light, but without those reminders and without me going on social media every day. And I know social media can have these wondrous pros and can be cons as well, but I am using it as purposefully as I can to not only reach our listeners and, put out content for the podcast, but I'm also doing it because it's a great tool or plan that helps me to accomplish what I want every single day, to get a little bit better every single day when it comes to my mindset.
Well, and I think a lot of what you put out there too is inspiring and helps people in one way or another. So I think the people who follow our podcast, they're following us because we're providing some sort of benefit, to their life. So, we're being very intentional, very conscious about the material that we're putting out there, because we want people to, truly get something out of it. And we're not out there advertising or just, putting stuff out there just to put stuff out there. It's definitely very intentional when it comes to the posts that we put out there. Just another thing, like on reminders, again, I'm that tech guy, but in Google Calendar, you can set a daily reminder to help you achieve your goal. It can pop up, the first thing in the morning, or it can pop up in the middle of the day. I have a thing on the when my lock screen comes up, it just says be humble, just a kind of reminder to be humble about, what we have in our life. So, there are different ways that you can get that message in front of you. Use your bathroom mirror, or, we have the whiteboard downstairs that, has our plans and everything on there. There's many different ways that you can get those reminders in front of you, just to, improve that one small thing in your life.
I think also not to underestimate the power of words. Like even just saying them out loud, or one sentence or an affirmation that you say to yourself every day, like, I'm awesome, I'm strong, I'm confident. Like, it sounds so cheesy when you say it out loud, but I'm telling you, when you tell yourself those things, you put out that kind of great shit to people. And it's so powerful. If you are saying amazing things to yourself, you start putting out that good vibe and energy into everyone around you. And you feel the difference, you see the difference, and it's amazing when life starts unfolding for you and all these amazing things just start happening. It's hard to explain, and it sounds kind of, I don't know, what is it called? Foo-foo or whatever. It's just phenomenal once you just put the good words in front of you every day of whatever change you want in your life. Like, put the words in your face, however however it makes sense to you, physically, technologically, just whatever it takes, like just be creative about it, but just put it in your face every day. Put whatever you want to do, however you want to be happier every day, like put it in front of you.
There's this Saturday Night Live skit.
Oh God.
I know. I'm going to be not serious for 1 second. This is what popped in my head when you said, words and words of affirmation. There's this skit where I forget who it was. I think it was who's the guy who was the center? I think it was Al Franken or something like that. But he had this skit where he would look in the mirror and he's like, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me." I don't know why I thought of that. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. No, I love your comedic little nuggets here and there.
Yes.
That's why I love you.
I love you too, baby.
And
you put up with my shenanigans.
You're quite dapper as well.
Well, I have my moments.
You do.
Yeah. Anyways, we're off track here.
A little bit. That's okay.
You want to talk more about me?
Well, it's just funny because my kids are reading this chapter book and they saw the word dapper and they're like, what does this mean? And I was like, it means handsome. And then my student said, "Do you think Mr. Nick is dapper?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, and his heart is very dapper too. I fell in love with his insides as well as his outsides. And then she just like was blushing in a way. It was so stinking cute.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, I taught her some new vocabulary. So hopefully she'll go home and call her dad very dapper
I
tonight.
love that word, dapper.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a classy word.
It is a very classy word. All right, where were we? We got way off track
just
from there. That's my bad.
Creating resolutions fucking every day and putting it in your face every day, whatever it is you want it to do. Whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's subtracting or adding, like put it in front of your face.
Yes.
I'm going to keep saying
Don't wait until next week.
No.
To say, I'm going to do this in 2020. Think about it. You don't have to start January 1. If you need some time to start thinking about, and I'm thinking of this more as in the long-term goals. I think there's some really short-term things or some very easy things that you can start today. But, start thinking about those medium-term goals, those long-term goals, things that you want to achieve, with the, and again, it could be within the next year, it could be in the next 3 years, 5 years, but write it down, make sure it is achievable, make sure it's achievable, make sure you can measure the results, but more importantly, make sure you draw out the plan of action.
Yeah, so everything you said, like that complicates it for me. So for me, it's like just baby steps.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about measuring it, it's like all that shit, like it overwhelms the hell out of me. So it's just interesting how your brain thinks like that.
Yeah.
But my brain is like, what's one little thing I can do better tomorrow? And that works for me. So it's just interesting, our perspectives, because...
And that's, that's the thing too. Like, not everybody's going to work the same way.
No.
Our brains all don't work the same way.
No, but I love it.
I'm more on the analytical side.
Yes.
You're more of like, okay, what's the easiest
what
thing
can I do today?
Yeah.
I'm like, what can I do today? And you're more like,
that's why
well, what are
a good team?
You're like, what is our life going to look like in 5 years? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
And I don't know
Nick.
either. I mean, like,
no, but
that's a great thing. Like, you can visualize and see where it is. And of course, things happen along the way. You have to make adjustments. But that's the thing. Like, because we're always communicating, we're always adjusting that plan too.
I agree. I just like hearing your perspective of it and mine, just because there's might be people out there whose brain works like yours, and then there's my brain who's like, all of that, what you just said is like too much. I need to break it down and start small. And sometimes, I mean, my picture just looks different. Like the way I organize information, the way I make plans is just a little different. But I like that we're putting out two different tools or ways, so that way people are like, okay, I don't work like that, but I could try that. And if you guys have a way that works for you, like, please share it. I love hearing different perspectives of just how you guys are making goals and then just making that shit happen, like taking the action. We're all about action.
All about action, and we're always about improving the way we do things as well. So
yes,
if you have a better way, we're open.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to drop on this one?
No, I don't.
All right.
I'm okay.
So, we want to get into, what have we got? The quote of the day?
No, it's called the resource.
The resources. I always skip the resources.
It's all right.
It's my bad.
It's all right.
Yeah. So what's our resource for today?
Our resource is a blog post.
Episode 8, Expectations.
That was not my resource, but we did talk about simplifying expectations. And that was our 3rd episode.
That was our 3rd episode.
It was our 3rd episode.
Man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Our introduction, like the song that plays into the podcast, is like super long. It's like a teeny bit different on how we record now, like how long our intro is. It's interesting to hear back like what we sounded like when we first started.
Actually, since you said that, I kind of want to drop what we're going to do next week. So our very first episode that we released, where we had that very long open track, where we probably sounded like we didn't know what the heck we're doing.
Because we didn't. We were just doing it.
Yes, it was called Simple Living. So our next episode, which will be exactly a year later, will be Simple Living a year later. So that should be a very fun episode. So we encourage you all to tune in again next week. But for now, Jilly, what resource are you going to drop?
So this is a blog post from TonyRobbins.com.
I like Tony Robbins.
The man.
Yeah.
This blog post is called The Power of Letting Go. I know we talked about resolutions. Like It could be something that you add or you take away. And it's a firm decision whether to add or let go. But yeah, so I'll just read a little bit from it. And if you guys want to check out the whole blog post, we will put the link in the show notes. So the little subtitle to this blog post is Releasing Your quote-unquote old story to create a better one. But why do we have so much trouble letting go? We like to hold on to things, situations, and circumstances because in a way it's fulfilling. There's comfort in familiarity and justification, even when it's rooted in a negative experience. But ultimately, not knowing how to let go has no real benefit. It only holds you back from achieving your true potential. To focus your energy on living positively and proactively, you need to learn how to let go.
Yeah.
And really, his blog post was really about letting go of specific relationships, but I think what I just read can apply to anything.
Sure, absolutely.
So I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we've applied it not only to relationships, but things that we don't do anymore. We've talked about wardrobes and just things that over the past that we've let go or we've kindly let go. We thanked it for its service and we let it go. So yeah, I agree that can be applied to a lot of different situations.
Yeah.
Cool. So now, quote of the day.
Quote of the day.
Yeah.
You did good, hon.
I got this.
Our quote of the day, it didn't say who it was by, but I will read this anyway because it's very wise.
A wise old man once said.
A wise old man once said.
Woman.
Thank you. When you let go, you create space for better things to enter your life.
I agree. I dig that.
So your take action challenge is, instead of thinking of what do you want to always add to your life, maybe try a different way of thinking of what can you subtract to make room, to make space for the great stuff you want to enter, and not waiting till the end of the year to do it.
Exactly. Or the beginning of the year.
Exactly.
Or the beginning of a new decade.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's it.
Good stuff, Jilly. I really enjoyed this episode.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, we hope you all enjoyed this episode as well. If you did like it, please take a screenshot and share it with your friends on social media, or head over to your podcast platform of choice and give us a 5-star review, as that helps us reach a larger audience. And again, we want to wish everybody a happy and healthy holiday season. And we will talk to you again on New Year's Eve.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I was going to say Happy New Year, but not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Happy holidays, friends. We will talk to you later.
See ya.
We want to thank everybody for listening today. Please be sure to subscribe and sign up to receive notifications so you know when the next episode is live. If you like today's episode and know someone who could benefit from the topic we covered, please share it with them. And if you have any suggestions for us or want to chime in on today's topic, you can email us at simplifiedchaospodcast@gmail.com, and that's chaos with a K, or send us a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you